When you get on, you have to realize that Blue Man is always evolving, and the music's changing, and you're going to get on at a point in the journey. You just have to realize that whatever you think that the Blue Man music is, it's like, it's not a set thing. It's more fun to go into the new territory.
They purchased Third Street in 1997 as a place to create new work, new music, really as a lab space to develop new instruments and new inventions, shoot videos, a place that would really be dedicated to playing and the creation of new work. The first thing I did there, it was the August 17th show. It was right after the creative development department was created. That space became dedicated to creating new work for Vegas. We knew that we had to take the existing show and redesign it and add to it so that it could play to a house, you know, that was more than twice the size of any house we had before. In that period of doing the August 17th show, that's what we called that show, as a mini show of new work for Vegas. We used the space to, you know, write new music, to design new costumes, the evolution of the electric light costumes, the first live wire wall, teched and really created the shadows piece. Audio was made, and I think the same kind of things keep happening there.
The decision to make an album was pretty big, our first album, Audio, because that is something that people have been asking, is Blue Man ever going to do that? Is that, you know, why don't you do that? Isn't there a recording of the show? We love the music.
There's certain additional instruments that we've never been able to fit in the theater that we could do in a recording situation. We had this space here where we try to come up with new instruments and do research and development, and some of them just aren't going to fit in the shows, and we developed quite a number of them that are either too big or whatever. And so it was nice when it came time to record the album to be able to present some of these things that couldn't fit in the shows. And then after we were done with the album, actually, right after that, that was sort of what led to us wanting to go to Las Vegas, because that theater could accommodate these instruments as well.
When the concept of doing a show in Vegas came about, the guys got together and said, let's try out some of these new ideas, these new visual ideas, a bigger band, more drummers, community building, audience, Blue Man band experiences, and so they came up with a bunch of new material. We need to have a theater and a stage that's big enough to do this involving new material. We got to do Vegas.
So many of the things now when we open a show, it's built on either sort of the Rewired show or the Vegas show. And when we were doing the Vegas show, we had never done anything of that scale. It was a lot of new material. The music was really different. And I mean, it was just so incredible seeing the band just rolling with everything. You know, I would kind of sub in and play with them, but really the point was for me to not play, and the other people who were music directing it, and just throwing stuff at them and having them, you'd be like, okay, we did it this way last night, we're going to do something completely different, and although it's the same piece of music, everything you know is out the window, and just having everybody go with it and roll with it, and seeing all the tech come together. And for me, that was probably, you know, it was definitely the most intense part of my time here.
The Intel experience was sort of like that. It was a huge shift. It made us grow overnight from here to here in terms of our exposure, in terms of our experience, in terms of the knowledge, introducing Blue Man to the hugest number of people imaginable, committing to that, making the decision to go there and do a ad campaign was a huge shift for Blue Man. There was a lot of skepticism. There was a lot of excitement. What are we doing? And if the commercials are good, then it's only good for Blue Man. And the commercials were great. We had complete creative control. We did the music. We just had this incredible learning experience making the commercials from a production and a creative point.
Blue Man Records actually started before I actually started. And since I started, there's been no one else hired by Blue Man Records. Audio came out in '99, and I was hired in February of 2000. So it sort of marked a new direction that the company was going in, and you know, A, by releasing a record, 2, by signing with Virgin Records, hiring someone to help oversee that operation. was huge, and that was all sort of new ground being broken. And it really marked another step being solidified as a creative entity. And then a year later, we actually got nominated for a Grammy. So it was a pretty huge step for us, and we fortunately got a very immediate stamp of approval.